So what actually is a gimbal? Well, as you can see here, it's now attached to my phone here, and you can see it perfectly balances your phone as you move it around. You can do some of these cool features. You'll probably appreciate there's more advantage for videography and cinematographers rather than photographers, but there's still some good features which I'll show you actually in the mobile app. So this gimbal comes with its own mobile app, DJI Mimo, and it's got quite a few features on there which are not in the standard camera app. For example, it does hyperlapse videos, which I'll show later on. But just to show you some of the buttons on the front here, so you have this joystick here, so that can move, pan around, and also tilt. This is a 3-axis gimbal, and I'm using Apple's own spirit level one here to show you that it does keep it level. We can also quickly go with a double click into landscape mode, and that's quite a little handy feature there as well. You can also use the reverse camera too. Also have active track, so if you are sort of moving around, then the gimbal will automatically follow you. That's a nice little feature. Also has a zoom button here, so you can zoom in and zoom out when you're in a camera app, and also the record button or shoot button too. So you can do everything basically by holding it and just looking at it and get it all set up nice. So it does hold it lovely and steady. There's also a button on the back here, a little joystick, which again just allows you to move things around and keeps it balanced. So that's just a quick look of the actual gimbal itself. Let's now go into the field and show you some of these results and what it can do. See you there. So let's show you how to do a panorama using the gimbal. And as you can see there, it's got an option for pano on the right. And when you press the shutter button, what happens here, as you can see, it automatically takes 9 photographs. So you hold the gimbal stationary or on a tripod, and the gimbal moves itself and takes 9 photographs. And that's what you get in preview mode, and that's what you get in the full screen mode. It takes its own pano using a stitch of 9 photographs. Now of course you can just use the standard Apple camera app for this as well, using the normal pano setting there, and just use the joystick on the gimbal to move across. And as you can see, it takes a photograph like this. Not the best photograph because of the wires, but that's how you do it just on the Apple stock camera app itself. So just back to the normal photo part of the app now then. And as you can see, you can use the gimbal joystick. We can just pan left, we can pan right, we can go up and down and round in all sorts of different ways. It's a 3-axis gimbal. You also see them in the screen now as well, there's one-time zoom, so you can just use that slider to zoom in and out as you would normally on your phone's app. Now what we can do as well is we can go back to the front-facing camera, the selfie camera, and there's a cool little feature on this gimbal that if you hold your hand up like so, it detects it and then sets the self timer to 3 seconds and takes the photograph. And that's a very easy way, oh that's not a nice photo is it, but that's a very easy way of taking a selfie photo using the gimbal. And that's one cool feature, but here's another one. We can draw ourselves on the screen here, so it detects my face, and now it has active track. So as I move my head one way, the gimbal automatically moves. If I move the other way, it moves the other way. That's not just me moving my phone, that gimbal is staying still the whole time, and the gimbal's actually moving to detect my face. That's another cool little feature there of the gimbal. So now I want to show you the time-lapse feature. So you can see at the top of the screen now I've got some options for time-lapse. So if you press on that button there, it brings up an interval and duration. So the interval between photographs being taken and the duration you want to film for. So let's say every 3 seconds, let's change the duration to 2 minutes. And we can select that. And as you can see at the top of the screen there, we've got 2 minutes. When we press the shutter button and start the time-lapse, it'll then start counting down. So we hold this now still for 2 minutes, and we see what happens there at the end. In fact, let's skip now forward to the end. So here we are in the last 6 seconds. It'll soon finish and start generating the time-lapse video. And there it is, it's successfully generated. So let's see how it turns out. And it literally was as quick as that. So obviously filming just for 2 minutes creates a very short time-lapse video. In fact, let's see it again. And there you go. So that's time-lapse. Now here's a very clever trick, and that is motion lapse. So it's like time-lapse before, but as you can see you can set a path. So what you can do is you can pan across a whole scene while shooting a time-lapse. That's what a motion lapse is. So we set our first waypoint. We don't move the phone at all, of course. We keep the gimbal straight, and we use the joystick to move it. We press the plus button, we set these different points. We'll just follow this road down here, set our 4th point there. And now we've got 4 different points now it's initializing. So same as before, we press the shutter button on the gimbal, It starts recording for 1 minute. We'll do it a bit shorter this time. And as you can see, I'm holding the gimbal absolutely straight here, but it's now very slowly panning between point 1, point 2, point 3, and I'll finish there at point 4. So let's just speed up again towards the end and see what happens. So we'll do the same as last time. We'll skip towards 6 seconds towards the end. It'll start generating, and guess how quick it's going to be this time. And there you go. So very quick. In fact, let's just show it again. This time we'll slow it down and just see that pan across there, as you can see. So that's motion lapse. So one we haven't looked at yet is slow motion. So I'm just going to zoom in to get rid of that bridge fence there, and I can see some traffic coming on the horizon here. So let's make quite a good shot. So I'll just film it now. Slow motion, just probably about 20 seconds worth. We can see now the traffic coming into view, which is going to make quite an interesting subject for our slow-mo video, especially with a lorry overtaking another one and a few cars there. So we'll just record it for a few more seconds, and then we're going to see how it's going to pan out. So we'll just stop it there, and let's see how that works out. So here we have the result. This is the slow motion video, and so that 21 seconds of recording is producing a video that's about 1 minute and 10 long. I'll just clip the beginning because it's not interesting viewing, is it, if watching the whole feature length there in slow-mo. But we can see there are lorries and a lorry overtaking. We'll see that go out of frame. So while you're watching this, I just want to mention about the lapse videos on this gimbal. So we've looked at time-lapse and motion-lapse, and then we're going to look at hyperlapse. So the difference is time-lapse is basically where you hold the gimbal straight and don't move it, and the camera doesn't move, and it just films a time-lapse video. As we saw the motion lapse, you still hold it straight, but the camera pans. So the gimbal's still in the same place, but it pans across. And with a hyperlapse video, that's where you don't move or pan the camera, but you actually move yourself and walk along. So let's just see an example of that now, of a hyperlapse video. And here you go. So this is a walk across that same bridge. I think it's about a 3-minute walk initially, 1.5 minutes each way, across the road in the middle. And it produces this lovely about 15-second video. So the camera's staying still, it's not panning, but I'm actually walking along with the camera there. So there you have it. So we'll end there on a nice still of me and the gimbal. But that's basically just a quick overview of the DJI Osmo Mobile 3 gimbal for photographers and videographers. Thanks for watching.